I'm sure that I've told you before that I almost quit being a Catholic. And it happened when I was 18. I was ready to just hop out of the church. But in the fall of 1988, when I went to Gallaudet, I was a freshman, they were hosting this whole week called Orientation Week. And they hosted that week so that new students would be able to get familiar with the campus and what was offered on campus and make sure that you got into the right classes and all of that kind of stuff. So, one of the days they hosted this special fair during that week where they had different organizations and clubs from all over campus have booths set up. So that morning I thought, well, I'll go and check it out and walk through and see what it was like. I didn't really want to, but I went in and there was just row and row after table and signs of all these different clubs and organizations. And I'm looking around and inside I was thinking, I really want to get away from the Catholic Church and join for another church. So I started looking for another church. I saw Lutheran, Baptist, and I started to make my way through the crowd. And all of a sudden somebody was catching my attention. And I turned around, and of course, who was it but none other than a Catholic priest. So I politely said hi, and he asked me what my name was, and I politely told him. And he was trying to make conversation with me, but I was polite and responded appropriately, and then I had about had enough, so I politely tried to excuse myself and thanked him. And the priest said, "Oh, wait a second, are you Catholic?" And that was it. I was stuck. I couldn't lie to him. So I said, "Yes, I'm Catholic." And he thought, well, he says, "Well, that's wonderful. Why don't you come sign our registry and put down your post office box?" Because, of course, that time we didn't have email. So I did. I put down my name and my post office box. And he says, "Great, I'll see you on Sunday." And I said, "Yes, you will." And I left. And I couldn't believe that I was still Catholic. I was so disappointed. But that one moment changed my entire life forever. I could have quit the Catholic Church and joined some other church, but I didn't. And years later, after, when I graduated, I ran into the priest and I told him one day, I said, "Did you know that I was getting ready to leave the church at that moment when you flagged me down?" And he says, "Really?" And he says, "Well, I have to admit something to you. The morning of that fair, I did not want to go to Gallaudet and do it because I'd done it every single year, year after year, and they're so boring. But I reluctantly went ahead and went to the fair." And I'm thinking how wonderful and how miraculously God works in our lives. Had that priest decided not to do it and skip the fair that year because it was so boring for him, my life would be completely different for sure. I wouldn't be standing here talking to you right now as a priest. I would be involved in a different church somewhere. So my story really parallels the story in today's gospel about a woman who every single day went to the well to fetch water. And she, even though it was boring, even though she could have been tempted not to, she still went to the well to fetch water that day. And who did she meet but Jesus? She had a conversation with him that changed her entire life. And she was so inspired by it that she summoned everyone she could to come meet this man, Jesus. And when they did, it changed their lives too, just like hers. Now, we may not all like doing the same thing day in and day out because we want to go out and do exciting things and have fun and enjoy ourselves. But to be honest, when we're doing that, we're too busy to think about God and we lose sight of Him. However, when we are doing our routine, whether it's boring or not, day in and day out, it helps us recognize God in everyday life. And also, there's so many people today who are just starving for God but don't know God's love. And they need us to let them know about Him. So, what does that mean? It means that we need to meet God on a regular basis and have Him in our life. And every day when we do the same thing, we need to have God there. Because when we get busy, it's hard for us to focus on Him. So we need to thank God for allowing us to have these boring, everyday, routine things, because it allows God to be in our life every single day. Thank you, and God bless you.